Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it, and we're excited to recognize and honor so many of you. I'd like to call the June 3rd, 2024 Long Hill Township Board of Education meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Long Hill Township Board of Education was given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act as follows. Notice was sent to the Echo Sentinel and Daily Record on September 18th, 2023. Revised notice was sent to the Echo Sentinel and Daily Record on March 22nd, 2024. Notices were posted on the bulletin board in the first floor entrance hall of the School District Administration Building, Gillette, New Jersey. Notices were filed with the Township Clerk, and notices were mailed to all persons who have requested individual notice pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Butler?
Here.
Mrs. Daly?
Here.
Mr. Foster?
Here.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Here.
Dr. Marr?
Here.
Mrs. McLennan?
Here.
Ms. Nyquist?
Here.
Ms. Ruvalo? Mrs. Case?
Here. We are going to start with presentations, and I will turn it over to Mr. Alexis.
Thank you, Mrs. Case. Before turning it over to Mr. Vitarello, I just want to congratulate our student athletes and our coaches on outstanding seasons. We are so proud of you, and we thank you for coming here on a Monday night in June to be recognized. To our student athletes, whether you realize it or not, you derive such important benefits from competing on a team. You develop deep bonds with your teammates that often carry into adulthood, and you learn that successful teams embrace everyone's contributions. Your teams did that this year. So believe me when I tell you, you'll remember this season for a long time. Congratulations on your collective accomplishments this year. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Vitarello to hand out some certificates and call you up.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for those words. And thank you to the board also for giving us the time tonight. Want to welcome the students, their coaches, and all of the parents. Both of you had a tremendous season. So many different ups and downs you have between balancing academics and also any sports season. There's always highs and lows, but the girls were undefeated. Congratulations to them. And they won the league championship. And the boys were as close as you can get to perfect. They only had one loss, so congratulations on a tremendous season as well, and also winning the championship. So we have certificates for every student. We're also going to be updating the banners that are in the main gym. We have a plaque on the way, and also t-shirts ordered for all the students to congratulate them. So when we call your name, we're going to start with baseball, I believe, first. So when we call your name, please just come up and we'll get a picture at the end. Michael Anthony. Dylan Braverman. Joseph Cerami. Kyler Diaz. Timothy Hansen. Jordan Hotra. Mason Hotra. Dylan Hurley. Patrick Kerwin. Gavin Maharaj. Michael Martinez. Towns O'Connor. Lucas Sheehan. Brady Simo. And Coach Tim Simo.
Why don't we, if parents want to take pictures, we could take a minute. Mr. Alexis, why don't you go and get in pictures too? Yes. Mr. Vitarello, maybe you too, and Mr. Simo, yeah.
I want to take a picture. Sorry. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No. You want? All right, I'm being.
Yes, yes.
Do the shuffle.
Gonna get it so white.
Yay.
Congratulations again.
Congrats again, Coach. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, and now for the girls softball team. Paige Anthony. Orla Butler. Ellie Clark. Madeline Falvey. Annabella Giambrone. Riley Hall.
Congratulations.
Ava Maya. Micah Pritzloff. Angelina Strower. Leah Sakaris. Deirdre Vanderstreet. Ariel Vavar. Catherine Wanamaker. Bella Wiggins. And Coach Peter Hockmeyer.
Take a minute so parents can do pictures.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if any of the coaches want to say a
Just
few
real
words.
quick.
Yep.
Okay, just because it's pretty much unprecedented what these girls have done this year. Central Middle School softball program has been very successful for many years. This season recorded another undefeated season, winning 13 games. Over the past 3 years, our team has been able to win the Central Jersey Athletic Association's regular season championships and also reach the Central Jersey Athletic Association's tournament championship game. We've won it all 3 years. All 3 of the years, we've been crowned champions. 2 8th graders, Micah Pritzloff and Deirdre Vanderstreet, have played for our team for all 3 of those years. And they've been a part of an unprecedented winning streak of 33 straight victories, which is insane. Over those 3 years, these girls have amassed a record of 35 wins with only 1 loss, which is pretty awesome. Our success this year and over the past many years is directly related to their hard work and, of course, the family's dedication. All right, to the players and families, I thank them very much. It's been an honor to be their coach, and I hope to be their coach for many, many more years. So, guys, thank you so much for all your great work this year. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Does Mr. Simon want to say a few words?
I didn't know we were giving speeches, so thanks, Coach. This is only my second year as the head coach here at Central Middle School. Both years we made it to the final. Maybe not as good as the girls because we didn't win it 3 years in a row. So, but certainly a great group of guys came to work and worked hard all year. Middle school sometimes is tough, mixing 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, but certainly an outstanding group to coach and feel fortunate to be, in this district, not only as a teacher, but as their coach. So, huge congratulations to them. They won the championship game 10-0. They mercied Valley View, which is kind of a neighboring rival. So, sure. We had 2 8th graders as well, Brady and Lucas, who were on the team as a 6th grader. So they've played in 3 championship games as well. So just an outstanding group. And again, thank you everybody for this time. Thank you.
As Mr. Alexis said, we're very proud of all of you and all of the work that you guys have put in and the coaches' time and energy. And I have to put my parent hat on and say to the parents too, who are spending a lot of time and energy shuffling kids around and being fans. So you guys continue to make us proud. And, there's a very special thing about being a student athlete. So really take that with you, learn from your coaches. And these are memories you'll never forget. So congratulations. From the field to the classroom, we have some more champions here today, and we are going to move to the Long Hill Township Faculty and Staff Milestone of Service. Everybody's important, but we do have 30 years of service, 25 years of service, and 20 years. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Alexis.
Sure, and I'm going to turn it over to the principals. And why don't we start with Mr. Vitarello, since you're on a roll here, and we'll go in descending order.
Okay, so is this on? Can you get
I think he turned it off.
turned it off?
Or the batteries died, which, because they always do.
Jeff? That was it. Okay, so now we transition, as I shared, to the classroom. So we want to thank the following staff members. We're going to start with 5 years of service. Thank you so much for all that you do, not only in the classroom every day, but everything for the community, the small things. Middle school encompasses so much. So thank you so much for your dedication to the students, our building, and the community, and all the ins and outs that you do every day. So we're going to start with 5 years of service. Karen Bissett. I don't think she's... Elise Brandafino, Valerie Carias, and Gina Russo. Thank you so much. For 10 years of service at Central Middle School, Carissa Felix. Elise Orzapowski. And that's it for 10 years. For 15 years of service at Central Middle School, Linda Seppi. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And one retiree this year who is mid-year, Patty Paul, but she was unable to be with us tonight.
Okay, next is Mrs. Dawson from Millington School.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Like as Mr. Vittorello said, you know, it is really nice to recognize the teachers for all their hard work. Congratulations to all our student athletes tonight. So for 5 years of service at Millington School, second grade teacher Dana Kersey. Third grade teacher Brittany Lee. One of our paras, Ruth Hines Hollett. Fourth grade teacher Kayla Ramirez. And special education teacher Marsha Riley. With 10 years of service, one of our paras, Gretchen Ayer. 20 years of service, Patrick Golub, the STEAM teacher. And second grade teacher, Jennifer Tremarco. "25 years of service, our art teacher, Wendy Cohen. And this one's hard to believe, but 30 years of service, our reading specialist, Danielle Minerva.
Okay, next we'll invite Dr. Jones up to the front.
Yeah, I'm going this way. Thank you. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Okay. Good evening. Again, to Mir, Mrs. Dawson, and Mr. Vittorello, thank you very much for everything you do, especially at Gillette School, where students are just learning to love to learn and read and write and everything. So we really help them grow. So congratulations to 5 years of service, Marcella Garcia Pradas. Sharon Lovett. Denise Midthassel. 10 years of service, Jenny Clark. And 20 years, Beth Nusser.
One second. And, yeah, so thank you to all our teachers and staff, and congratulations on these service milestones. It's not much different than being a student athlete, really, when you think about it, because you are part of a team, and it's everyone's contributions that make a difference to the success of our school and to our students. So thank you. And we also have a retiree this evening, and before I turn it back to Lori to present...
Excuse me, George.
Mary Jean...
George,
Ooh, yeah.
can I recognize Adele?
Oh, yeah, how did that... Yes, please
Please.
go ahead, Robin, I'm sorry.
Okay, I would like to take a moment to honor Adele, who's an invaluable member of the business office staff as the assistant to the business administrator. Adele has consistently demonstrated an exceptional level of detail and professionalism in all her endeavors, making her an indispensable asset within the business office and to our district. Adele is a true team player. She's always kind, helpful, focused on the best interests of our students and our community. Her ability to bring clarity to even the most nebulous of situations showcases her remarkable skill and dedication. She has made every single day that I've worked with her a pleasure, and I'm honored to call her my friend.
How many years service?
Very nice. I think that's everyone, right? Okay, we're good. Good. Congratulations, Adele. Sorry about that. Before I turn it back to Dr. Jones to honor our retiree, I just want to say a few words about Mary Jean Snow. Last summer, Mary Jean was one of the first staff members to take me up on my invitation to stop by the board office so I could get to know the staff in person in my first month. I remember two things about that informal meeting. One, that Mary Jean is an avid reader. We had a lively conversation and exchanged book recommendations. Two, that Mary Jean was incredibly passionate about teaching kindergartners. It was clear from the way she spoke about the kids' curiosity and natural desire to learn. Since our conversation last summer, I have had only the most positive interactions with Mary Jean, and I want to be one of the first people to congratulate her on her retirement and offer best wishes for long summer days filled with an even longer reading list. And Dr. Jones has a gift for you and a few words to say. She's known you much longer than I have.
Okay, Miss Snow. I'm actually saving my very long speech for her retirement party this week, but I will share two very special things from Miss Snow that she and I have a lot in common as also a former kindergarten teacher. Miss Snow, this is one retirement that, wow, I've been through so many already, that actually had me in tears when she told me, and I pretended not to receive her letter on my desk and pretended to throw it in the garbage and say, no, you're not leaving. Mrs. Snow is an extremely highly requested teacher every year, and I'm very sad to see her go, but I have a lot more fun stories, and I will not make her laugh or feel embarrassed or cry right now, so we'll save that for Thursday night. Thank you. Here you go, Miss Snow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Snow. I can imagine that most students never forget their kindergarten teacher, and for many of us, it's our first experience with, formal education. So, thank you very much. We have one other presentation, Millington School Greenhouse, and I know everybody's probably antsy to see when they have a break after this, and if once we do this, then there's cookies if you guys want, and then you guys could probably easily exit if you would like to.
But you can stay.
But you can stay, yes.
As everyone knows, at Millington School, we have a lot of space, and we have two large courtyards. Mr. Nessler came on to the staff, and soon after, he started to say, I'm going to take care of that, one of them. So he started just a garden out there, and through donations and grants, we now have a greenhouse. There's some raised flower beds, and it's all kind of entwined into the curriculum. So Mr. Nessler is here. He does have some slides, so I don't know if the board wants to come down.
Oh, we see it
Oh,
right
is he going
here
to see it
now.
up there? Okay, perfect. I haven't been here in a while. Okay, here's Mr. Nessler.
Thank you very much. So thank you. Over the past couple of years, we've been doing a lot out in the gardens at the greenhouse. By the way, congratulations to both teams. That's awesome. But we've been doing a lot out in the gardens and alongside with the board. The board's been very generous in providing and supporting us all along the way. So I have a couple of students here and some of these students here that I didn't know were going to be here that have benefited from that. So we just want to give you a quick presentation on what's out there and some of our projects to come. So first things first, just a couple of the educational opportunities of having a garden on the grounds. We have some hands-on education. A lot of our studies do go around with plants and decomposers and all of those things. So it really benefits the students to get out there and actually see these things. The sustainability practices, which has become a part of the New Jersey standards over the past couple of years, also adds a lot to that, both with composting and being able to grow your own food. And then also the student ownership from the developing, picking, and cultivating seeds all the way through to an end product, which some of our students do get to sample while we're out in the garden. So without further ado, I'll be turning it over. Oh, do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Nope, we don't want to introduce ourselves. Here we go.
Starting in the fall, students prepare garden beds so that they will be ready for planting in the spring. Seeds are hand-selected by students and sprout indoors under grow lights. Once the plants are strong enough, they can be transported out to the garden. The sun and rain causes these sunflowers to grow really fast. Growing flowers is fun, but the food is most exciting. We have lettuce, tomatoes, peppers, carrots, and corn and many strawberries growing right now. We love eating them. Our greenhouse allows us to extend the growing season and grow exotic plants that wouldn't normally survive here.
One of the new programs we began this year is growing hydroponics. Plants are grown using no soil in the classroom. We grew lettuce, tomatoes, and basil that some teachers turned into pesto sauce. Our composting program expanded as well. We collect scraps from the lunchroom and mix in shredded notebook paper to create nutritious soil.
Thank you, ladies, very much for that. All right. So, and with your continued support, we hope to continue expanding these programs within the school. So again, thank you very much, and thank you to the 3 brave ladies that decided to come up here in front of what they knew was going to be both baseball and softball teams. So thank you very much, girls.
Thank you. Well, clearly the vegetables were critical to these children becoming as big as they are and winning these games. So thank you, guys. So I think we'll take like a 10-minute break. And there's cookies, I think, in the back. I can't really see, but I think they're back there. And then, on the side. Okay. And then we'll reconvene. Usually in the back. Oh. Robin, if you thought it was in vain, your purchase. Look at the children.
This is probably the first time.
Okay, we are going to go back into business. Our next item on the agenda is communications. I do not have any.
No, nothing to report.
Okay. Board committee and liaison reports. We'll start with Karen.
Sure. From the Morris County Ed Services Commission, we had a virtual meeting on May 8th. Excuse me. One couple of things. We did the CSA evaluation, similar to what we're going to be completing ourselves. Also, too, was identified that they have a less, lowering enrollment, so they're going to actually be reducing their staff by 1 and reducing their classes from 5 to 4. Only reducing 1 staff member because there are certain services that they still must provide to the students that are there. So it's getting closer to the time when they're going to have to consider closing the school. The next big thing is that, and I mentioned this before, their reorganization by law is in June. Believe it or not, 1 or 2 or 3 maybe districts in Morris County still have elections in April. So it's conceivable that come June, there could be a change in the board. What they do for the reorganization is they have to be 15-member districts on the board. And districts can submit that they want to be on the board, or, they can pass it up. I put us down as wanting to remain on the board, and I put my name in there. This is one time when, like I said, in January, they can also have a change of complexion. So they get changed up twice, just to let you know. Our next meeting is going to be the 12th, which I will not be able to attend because I will be attending the Township Committee meeting when we present our budget. Okay. Governance. Excuse me. Regarding the mission and vision, I guess it was identified and really reminded, I think Katie reminded us that the strategic plan is coming up. Process is due in in 2025. So after some discussion, we said maybe it would be best if we go through that process and glean from the stakeholders and the input that's provided there as to what we should be looking to for our mission and vision. Let it grow out of what the stakeholders have to say. So our timeline has changed a bit on that. With respect to the board planning calendar that's on the website, I believe it is up now. It would be really beneficial if you could look it over. We kept some things that we had in our previous timeline, picked up some things from the model that we used from the Livingston district, but you might see things that we should add or change or whatever, so that would be really helpful. We're trying to keep it, keep it up to date as possible. With respect to our retreat, which is coming up in July, which would also go with our self-evaluation, we're going to be giving out or sending out ahead some preparation work, which is really to, refamiliarize yourself with the goals, the strategies, and the community responsibilities. Because one of the things that came up is that you're going to be the committee is going to be setting their goals, and we have to have an understanding of the difference between the goals that you set for the year and different from the normal responsibilities that you have as a committee. And we just want to make sure that distinction is identified. And something that's going to be different is George is going to be providing the district goals. So we really are only going to be working on board goals. Then it goes into the committees in themselves, and they develop their own goals. In terms of, I think I mentioned to you that Kim, George, and I are going to we're going to submit and have submitted a proposal for a presentation at the school board conference in October. The title is Effective Committees Through Good Governance. I believe the minutes went out, from the meeting, so that has a summary of what we're going to cover. CSA evaluation, I'm very happy to announce that we had 100% participation, and we will be handling that as we move into the next room later. The thing about the self-evaluation, we lengthen the timeline. We're giving you 3 weeks. So essentially, you can go online tomorrow, and you have until June 21st to complete the self-evaluation. So, okay, previously it was 2 weeks, but it'd be 3 weeks. I know it's going wrong from one evaluation to another, but
Just to clarify, so it's the board evaluation, so you're not evaluating, just for new members, yourself on the board, you're evaluating the board in general.
And you as a member,
Yeah,
yourself as a
but
member.
Itself sounds a little,
Oh, okay, all right, all right, yes, the board, the self is the board.
yes.
Okay. All right, now with respect to finance, I think I mentioned before, they had an RFP out for the aftercare, before and aftercare. They got 5 respondents. One came in late and didn't really meet all the qualifications of the bid, and it's actually being awarded to Alpha Best. With this contract, they will give us 10% of the new revenue, and the minimum was raised from $30,000 a year to $33,000 a year. You're going to see, well, a lot of the stuff that I'm going to mention is in resolutions on the agenda. There were professional services RFPs that went out. Sometimes we only got 1 respondent, and sometimes we got 2. But the auditor, we got 1 respondent, the one we have. There's a $5,000 increase in their charge. There seemed to be a copious amount of new requirements that the state put on us in terms of identifying assets and all the information that goes with them. The architect, for keeping Parrot, SumGen, the municipal and continued disclosure engine. I don't actually know what that is, but it's Phoenix Advisors. Bond counsel is staying the same. Legal is staying the same. Health benefits consultants, we got 2 respondents, exact same response. So we're staying with Brown and Brown. Excuse me. And insurance consultant is staying the same. I apologize for this.
Just a minute.
Allergy. Can I'm gonna turn it over
Yep,
to Robin.
okay. Robin?
Okay, so, update on the National School Lunch Program, that I had spoken with Greenbrook and Plainfield to see if they could do a consolidation agreement. We did not hear that Greenbrook was able to help us. Plainfield is working with Mascios to possibly provide something. An RFP was also advertised for a competitive contract. A competitive contract is with a food service vendor, so these are 2 different types of options. I'm sorry, 2 different types of options that we have for our food service. Frank and I also reviewed our facilities with the principals to determine what will be necessary for the program. We need to find space for a refrigerator, a warmer, a milk storage area, and a hand washing sink. And so we did go around to all the different schools to see just how to do that. So we were well on our way. The consolidated agreement, if you remember, is that another school district takes us over as like a satellite school. We give everything to them. Therefore, we make no profit on the program. If we do the competitive contract, we do all the work, but we also keep some of the profit. So we are going to find out toward the end of June whether we have respondents to either, and then we can make the best choice for our district. That. Moving on to subscription busing. The applications went out for subscription busing. We're asking families to return them to us, I believe, by July 1st. We are also putting out there a waiver that if you really know that you are not going to be using subscription busing, please sign the waiver. You can always get back in, but at least that way we know we have the seat. This is the first year where subscription busing will not be guaranteed. If you give us your money, we cannot guarantee, just because we have so many children riding the bus. So that's why we're asking about the waivers, that if somebody else can use it and you know that you're not going to be using it, please let us know. On the agenda tonight also is the joint transportation agreement with Watchung Hills Regional High School. As you remember, we're still going to be using Durham again. The CPI, which is Consumer Price Index, that we could go up to was 5.81%, but we told Durham, or negotiated with Durham, that we would only do a 4% increase based upon this year's service. You're also going to see on the agenda a whole bunch of yearly motions. One is the right to know, which is informs with, Rulio and Juliet is the company handling the right to know, informing our public employees about hazardous chemicals in the workplace. POSHA, which is Public Employees Occupational Safety and Health Act, to establish safety and health standards for the state and local employees, and AHRA, which is Asbestos Hazardous Emergency Response Act, which requires inspection of all of our schools for hazardous materials. We also approving some co-ops. This again is just annual co-ops that we use for tuition, for busing, purchasing, that. You will also see on there the annual transfer of surplus to reserves. This is where we move funds from our year-end surplus to our reserves. The amount set there is a maximum, okay? We won't know the actual amount moving to the reserves until we do the audit. So you always send it maximum higher than what you think you're going to have so that we have room to move it to wherever we feel is best suited to our needs. You also see on the agenda the Chapter 47 report. This is an annual requirement to let the board know if any contracts that will be renewed, expired, or will be new. And lastly, we put on there the ARP ESSER purchases, and this really is just a bookkeeping thing. You've approved of most of these during the year. We just want to be sure that should we ever be audited, we don't want to have to go back and look through all the agendas to try to find what we spent. So we just give you one listing at the end of the year saying this is everything. That way if we're audited, we can just know that if we go to the June agenda, it's there. And I think that's all we have. Oh, no, two other things. Jack has gone through technology items. You're going to see on the agenda that we are disposing a bunch of technology items. They are all obsolete. We've checked with companies for best pricing to get rid of them. They will all be shredded. There will be nothing that we have to worry about getting out there. And lastly, we wanted to let the Finance Committee know and the public that we were able to help out the Watchung School District. They ended up short a bus driver for some special education children. They didn't have a sub, and they asked if they could use our bus driver. And so I made some quick calls to the state and found somebody in Atlantic City who said, you know what, yep, you can do it. And so we were able to let our bus driver drive for them. So it just felt like a really nice thing between districts. So we wanted to let you know about that too. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for Robin on finance? Okay, we might have to come back to Karen. I don't know if she's done. Crystal?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Danielle?
Okay, so a few things. We had our last Community Relations Committee. The meeting was on May 21st, and in attendance was myself, Justin Foster, Tom Groskoff, George Alexis, and we spoke about our goals and responsibilities, kind of going over what we're looking at it going into our upcoming board retreat, and knowing that at our next meeting we'll have some homework, and hopefully we can brainstorm and come up with some goals for the upcoming, I guess, school year. We also spoke about something which was really cool and exciting. We contacted local businesses in the library and coordinating with us, the school district, and highlighting different things that our students might be doing, whether it be artwork and whatnot. So that's kind of in the works, and this looks promising. We also, well, this is actually news. So this is pretty cool for the PTO. We would like to highlight that Laura McAvoy, who is the president for the PTO, she was recognized and received the Virginia Doran Volunteer Award. It's been sponsored by the Virginia Doran's family for the past 14 years. As everyone mostly knows, Laura has had countless hours volunteering for our district, and she will be graduating. So this is definitely celebrated and well-deserved, and I just wanted to highlight that. And finally, I can give the PTO the June update. So as the school year is wrapping up, PTO has a few events left on the calendar: the 4th grade science fair, the 5th grade picnic, and sponsoring the 8th grade breakfast, departmental student awards, commemorative keychains, and graduation reception. Also, registration is ongoing for the 42nd annual Watchung Hills Regional High School Sending District Band Camp, sponsored by the PTO and held at the Central Middle School from June 26th to July 20th. And also, let me see here. If there's any questions, just contact the PTO. If you need any more information, lhtpto@gmail.com. That's basically it.
Okay. Any questions for Danielle? I know that we also just had Colonial Day, which was a great experience. I know the students really liked it. I participated in it. I thought it was like a seamless production. It really was. You could just step in and everything was really done for you, which was nice. And I enjoyed working with the other parents, and the kids really got into it. And then also Millington had Field Day, which I think also was a big hit. So very nice. Anne. I'm going to come back to you.
So just briefly, an update on the shared services regionalization feasibility study. There should be a link on our website to the Watchung Hills Regional High School page. And from that link, those who were not able to attend the May 20th virtual session, that virtual session is posted and available for anyone interested in that information. The Student Achievement Committee met on May 14th. Myself, Kim Case, Katie McLennan, Crystal Marr, Dr. Jones, and Mr. Alexis were in attendance. We discussed the media center position at Central. We discussed some revisions to the cycle courses at Central. I guess we started out with Central. So the grade 7, digital literacy and communication cycle courses, personal history, talking about maybe integrating some new projects that would involve, letting the students do some personal research on topics that interest them and project-based learning. Also, revisions to the 8th grade career and financial literacy cycle courses are in discussion. For summer curriculum writing, I believe I've reported this before, but elementary social studies is planning to work on writing, as is ELA grades K through 5 with revisions and updates, and slight adjustments with the ELA middle school curriculum to make sure they're in alignment with some changes that are happening at Watchung Hills High School. The Watchung Hills Regional High School students visited Gillette. We had very positive reports of that day. They had some observed and worked, I guess, in small group instruction time with the PE students. I'll turn my page. The STEAM position at Central Middle School, you'll notice, is agenda items 47 and 48 on today's agenda. Again, we discussed at meetings before and spoke about here, but just to bring it to your attention. And while we're looking at the agenda items 56 and 57, we also discussed the comprehensive equity plan, which is a team of teachers who are meeting to discuss policies, how those policies are being implemented in district, and then ideas for any updates to school programs or activities that they feel, maybe time to be discussed or updated. For the June committee meeting on the agenda, though the agenda may grow, we will have some feedback from the Summer Institute Parent Survey. I think that's about enrollment. The parent-teacher conferences, it's still an ongoing discussion, just to make sure, as we know, we've had some changes over several years with parent-teacher conferences. So to look back at the way that they were conducted this year, the administration is discussing that and looking at some data for us. And then we'll be looking forward to an update from the 3 schools with the year ending, just reflections on the progress from this school year. So that was my report.
Okay. Any questions for Anne? No? Okay, Tom?
Nothing to report this time.
Okay, Justin?
Nothing to report.
All righty. Katie?
Okay, so on May 29th at 2 p.m., the Buildings and Grounds Committee met. Myself, Mr. Alexis, Kim Case, Karen Nyquist, Tom Kroskoff, Robin Bomer, Frank Murgatroyd, and Adele Valentine were in attendance. The Gillette fire alarm kickoff meeting and with the architect and the contractor is going to start after school ends. You had the you had the meeting to kind of go over everything, and it's going. The construction is going to start right after school ends. The sooner we can do that, the better. The Millington Library purchase orders were sent out. There needs to be a 12-week lead time. They're already boxing books, and maintenance actually is doing the demo as opposed to it was originally budgeted for and contracted out, and that saved approximately $8,000 or almost $9,000. Is that?
I think 8.
of the aid that we're using, so that's going to be able to be reused somewhere else, and we always like to see that. The ROD grants are moving along. I think you'll probably discuss that at more detail. Let's see what else. We have, things are moving along with the school do. The teachers are putting more and more things in through that, and it's going faster. The school picnics, instead of having the teachers go through the system manually, they're actually now doing it in the system. So more and more that's kind of being pushed through, and they're doing things the official way, and things are getting done more quickly. The HVAC, there were 3 ductless units put into Millington for both heating and cooling, and that was in I believe the main office area. So that is working now. There's a new rooftop unit put in over the copy room in Millington and the health office, correct? No?
I don't know.
Okay, it's
Can't
okay.
remember.
Okay, sorry. And then at Gillette, roof units were also put in over the admin area for K and First and the all-purpose hall. Let's see, so there's that there. We've got the tree work. We're getting a quote, we're getting a dogwood from the Tree Shade Committee. And we're looking into how to acknowledge that. And I think the dump truck listing is going up. And the central sewers, we're looking to get a cabling piece of equipment, so we can also not have to call that out all to the plumbing company. And that is all I have for that. And then for the Long Hill Education Foundation, we have a new, I've mentioned this at previous meetings, but now Jessica Walsh is officially no longer our force coordinator. We have Carolyn taking that over. So we're currently over the summer kind of reaching out to different vendors and kind of going over that. We're hoping to kind of pull in some more new and exciting opportunities at all 3 schools, as well as maintaining some of the ones that are as popular as they've always been. We had our color run on May 17th. We raised a little over $3,000, which was really unexpected. We didn't expect it to be as successful as it was. It was a really wonderful day. The kids had an absolute blast, getting absolutely filthy. I think the parents that were throwing the color at people had more fun. My husband was entirely taking buckets and just throwing them at people. He had a really good time, and seeing them, my silly Scotsman doing that was a lot of fun. And the teachers were wonderful, and we're definitely, there were a lot of happy faces, and it's definitely something we will be doing again next year. We also have an event, save the date, for November 1st. It's a Friday. It'll be at the Embassy Suites in Berkeley Heights, and it's going to be a masquerade gala, and there'll be fundraising there, and it'll be a lot of fun, and there'll be a lot more information about that. Again, it's Friday, November 1st. And I think that's everything, so thank you. Oh, and we are still accepting grant requests. So there's been a request sent to all 3 schools, and we're hoping to hear from everyone because we have some money that we'd like to spend. So that was generously donated to us from our community. So we are looking forward to hearing about that. So that's everything for me.
Okay. So Katie, for those grant requests, would they have to apply to the next school year? I don't know that they
We
can.
have actually reached out to each of the schools
Okay.
directly and said we made suggestions and asked them to directly apply to us. There's actually a process on our website. We've also reached out to the schools where they can be done. They virtually can be applied for year-round. We have 2 primary deadlines for the larger ticket items. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the dates, but I want to say it's like October 15th and March 15th, or it might be February 15th. And that way, there's time to kind of go through everything, but they can also just at any time for the lower ticket items. There's a cutoff, and the instructions have been sent out, and they're on our website. But the idea is that it's an ongoing thing. And we have budgeted approximately, for this school year, there was approximately, I want to say $24,000 budgeted for the school year to be donated. So we have a little bit left over, and we want to make sure that it goes, it doesn't do anything sitting in our bank. So we want to make sure that it's for the right things, and it's for things that are of value, but it also, we raise it for the kids. We don't raise it for us. So it's important for us to make sure that it's it's available for the schools to use the way they see fit.
Okay. Any questions for Katie? Okie dokie. Superintendent's report.
Okay, great. I'll be brief because we have our administrative leadership team here to give a presentation. Let me just echo some of the comments about the PTO. I know there are still upcoming events, but some of the ones like Colonial Day, Medieval Day, Victorian Day last month were just terrific. The Writers' Workshop and the Shakespeare Residency and all of those sponsorings are much appreciated, and congratulations to Laura McAvoy on her graduation. And also, I saw how hard she worked this year, and I know she's been doing this for a long, long time. So really appreciate her help. On the agenda, we have the annual official HIB grades that were received last month and posted on our website. The last step in the annual process is to have the board approve those official grades, and they are on the agenda today. We also have the ARP Safe Return to School plan, which is required by federal law. We made only minor revisions, and this should be the last time that we have to do this. 2 required resolutions for the submission of the 3-year comprehensive equity plan also appear on the agenda. And just a reminder, Robin and I will present the budget highlights at the Township Committee on June 12th. And now to the presentation. I know that Jack has it already loaded and ready to go. And so we're going to invite the administrative leadership team forward. All right, great. And so we begin the presentation with just a look at our goals, which are on our agenda each month and on the, all of our committee meeting agendas. The first one dealing with raising academic performance, the second one engaging school community stakeholders, the third one focuses on aligning instructional spaces to support innovative teaching and learning, and also includes cost-saving opportunities. And then last, goal 4, promoting an inclusive school community that honors the voices and potential of all individuals. Tonight you're going to hear from the leadership team about the ways we are moving towards these goals. Now, as you know, we implemented iReady for this year, and because that is a part of this first goal, I just want to make a few comments about that, because it's really allowed us to identify specific areas for student growth this year and to personalize learning for our students. And as we begin internalizing this data-driven process, we're placing more emphasis on using assessment to drive instruction. It allows us to meet the students where they are and to help them grow in areas that may be challenging to them. But let's remember, too, that these are diagnostic tests, not summative assessments like the NJSLA. We're using them to collect data to promote learning and growing. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Jones to start. And I'm really pleased that we have everyone here to do this with a team effort. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alexis. So I will continue with how we raise academic performance through our professional learning, district and services, and curriculum Mondays. We focused a lot this year on iReady, as Mr. Alexis said, and small group instruction, specifically at the K-5 level, and we are working on a plan to bring that up to the middle school level as well for next year. We budgeted again for Conquer Math for teachers for next school year, any new staff that is hired, any grade changes where teachers may need a refresher for a different grade level, and year 2 from teachers who went to and participated in year 1 this year. We continue to have PLCs at all 3 schools, focusing on district goals, but also individual school goals and where the teachers feel that we need extra work on and extra collaboration when we have monthly meetings. For the K-5, we focused a lot on Conquer Math, well, K-8 Conquer Math, K-5 ELA, and then we had middle school meetings with the high school and sending districts about novels and updating our writing rubrics. We partner with Watchung Hills Regional High School again this year for learning walks. Mr. Vitarello and I went to each subject area with the other sending districts and walked around to classes with the supervisors and with our colleagues, and it was great. We got to sit in on different classrooms, see former students, and just sit down and learn instead of reading their programs and program of studies, and just being there and talking to teachers and talking to other administrators in throughout the whole district. As Mrs. Butler said, students came to Gillette School from Watchung Hills Regional High School for about 4 weeks, and we're continuing this next year throughout the whole year. It was great. We saw a lot of familiar faces. They started off coming in for small group instruction time, so as the teachers were working with small groups during skill-based instruction, some of the students took them and monitored them over centers, or read them a story, or helped them write in their journals, or helped them with counting manipulatives for math. So it was very teacher directed, but it was great. And I think the students learned. Some days, if we had an assembly or a special, we had to rearrange the schedule. They did go into PE and preschool, and they loved it. It's great. So we're looking forward to bringing that back to Gillette School for next year. Okay, one-to-one technology. We achieved the one-to-one device ratio at Millington School this past March, and we do have, I believe, a 2-year plan, right, Jack? Or 2 or 3-year plan for Gillette School with iPads. We learned this year through iReady that iPads are much more user-friendly for the young children. So we will have 100 devices in September, and then the following year we have budgeted to bring in the remainder that we will need. So we're excited for that. And we are still, we continued with our supplemental programs. We started the after-school tutoring program earlier this year, 1 month earlier than in the past. And we did send out invites to the Summer Institute. And as Mrs. Butler said, I will have the information more about attendance for Summer Institute at our meeting, I believe, next week for Student Achievement Committee. Okay, just to highlight some areas for Gillette. Again, the Watchung Regional Hills High School students came, and it was great. The director of curriculum there also came with them every week. They came twice a week, Mrs. Mary Ellen Phelan. So I would like to thank her because it's great. She came and watched and observed. We continue with our district-wide benchmark writing assessment and rubric, and this will follow the students in their folders from grade to grade so that the teachers can pick up and just see where the students left off from the year before. So this was something the teachers enjoyed through word of mouth and through us just having meetings. Our reading specialist met with them monthly, and they enjoyed seeing the progress of the students with each of these writing rubrics or writing assessments through the rubrics. As Mr. Alexis said, I met with the Equity Committee from January up until just recently. We did go over every policy in the district. We updated areas that we needed to update as far as how we teach and are we being inclusive? Are all students being provided an opportunity to learn before school, after school, and at the next admin meeting at the end of this month, I will share with the group some changes that we are suggesting and see how we can implement that for going forward for next year. Our students went on field trips. We continued to participate with Mrs. Hartman through the G&T Consortium activities with both Gillette and Millington School. We had reading buddies for preschool through grade 1. That was really fun. Read Across America, we participated in a one-day event in the gym. It was beach theme. We had the famous surfboard that I think is still in central office. And it was great. The students read to each other, and they asked each other questions, and they interacted really well. It was a wonderful collaborative activity that Mrs. Minerva put together. So we'll definitely continue with this, with different themes going forward. Our guidance counselor ran Tiger Team assemblies that were based on our social emotional learning program and character education pillars. And we had great cultural arts assemblies this year. We are looking we had the first grade dance residency, which was great. We are in year 4 or 5 of that. And next year we are bringing in a kindergarten one, but not to take away from first grade. So we're working on something that kindergartners will also be able to participate in and have a memorable experience from Gillette School without taking away from the other grade level. To continue with Gillette on how we engage school and community stakeholders. Did you have a question?
Just one question.
Yes.
The students that come to Gillette School, are they how are they selected? Do they say they want to be teachers? Is that why?
Yes. So the students that came from Watchung Hills High School were in, I don't remember the name of it now, it was the former teacher program. And they had to get permission slips. They were trained when they came in. I sat with them, trained them very little to just to take the leadership from the teachers. But they are they're going to be future teachers. And it was worked out in their schedule, so they were able to stay longer. Instead of just a 45-minute period, they were able to stay through their lunch period, I believe. So some of them stayed longer, which was great.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Communications and engagement, we obviously participate in the new website. Our communication is still in process with different venues of communicating through Twitter, weekly e-blasts, family calendars. We still have the translating services between all three schools for various meetings that we have. We translate with Google Classroom as well on the website, multiple languages. We collaborate with the PTO and the LHEF and the police department, who actually helped us with our evacuation drill and all of our other drills that we seek assistance from. Parent volunteers are very involved in Gillette through Read Across America, Food Day, Library. They come in and they help students check out books. We have mystery readers, the holiday shop, the book fair, our dance residency, PTO grade level events, field day, and also family reading night. Okay, I'll turn it over to Mrs. Dawson.
For raising academic performance at Millington School, just like Dr. Jones said, we did the district-wide benchmark writing assessment and rubric, framing your thoughts writing that Mrs. Minerva and her team trained all the teachers K through 5 right in August when we returned for professional development. To implement the program with a focus on writing strategies. And then she and the team led monthly PLC to address the literacy needs and make sure the teachers were comfortable with implementing those strategies in the classroom. We were fortunate to send 3 teachers from Millington to Conquer Math. It's a series of math workshops, about 6 different sessions throughout the year. And these teachers had not gone, so they came back and led monthly PLC's turnkey key information. We had updated our math book since we had last sent teachers by the pandemic, so it was good to have them come back and look at where our curriculum mapping was in preparation for NJSLA as well. So they brought not just learning strategies back, but they brought so many resources to share with their colleagues. And then the other PLC we had was addressing the opportunity gap, giving teachers information to better support students of all backgrounds in school. As the community has become a little bit more diverse, even some economic challenges, just giving teachers information to have as they're planning lessons or working with students to support them in their classrooms. And then I looked at other learning opportunities outside the traditional classroom. So Mrs. Hartman was great to work with the students who, on the activities for the Consortium for Gifted and Talented. We had a couple, I think 3 second grade classrooms where they adopt a cow from a farm, and it's kind of their cow throughout the year. The kids absolutely love it, but there's so much learning that goes on with that. I brought in the 2nd and 4th grade reading buddies. That's still going strong. Various classrooms, we talk about reading goals. So stamina for reading, there's stamina charts in the classroom, but also some teachers have implemented like a challenge to their students in the number of books that they read. Read Across America, Dive into Reading was a great event. We have so many class trips. Our Tiger Team assemblies, it's a great time for the whole school to come together and really talk about those character traits and the pillars, as well as giving students some strategies for coping skills or deep breathing exercises just to help them in the classroom. We have the PTO Fabulous with all the cultural arts assemblies and grade level events, International Day, Colonial Day, we have the Science Fair, Environmental Day, so it's just great that so many parents can get involved with that. Mr. Nessler was here today talking about the garden and the greenhouse. He hosted a night under the stars, and also the PTO sponsored the Rutgers Science Bus. Earth Day events were done at different grade levels. I know second grade had a Zoom call with a local gardener, and they donated, I think they're located in Basking Ridge, but I'm not 100% sure, but donated seeds for each kid. But they also talked about pollination and the growth cycle. So that was a neat thing for second grade. Mrs. Cohen gets the students involved in the various art contests and has submitted artwork to art shows. We have a parent, Stephen Whitman is a fourth grader. His mom is an architect, and she got in touch with us that April was Architecture Month, and she found something about lessons. We just couldn't fit it in with the time, but she's coming next week to do a lesson for the whole fourth grade. So we've been collecting a lot of cardboard. And then Bugsy, Mr. Simo is fostering a puppy for the Seeing Eye, and Bugsy has been in the school getting trained around people. So that has been a nice, the kids absolutely love seeing him, but they've understood the expectations we have so we can train Bugsy the right way. And then communications and engagement, very similar to what Dr. Jones said. The new website's in progress. The translating services have been fabulous for us to work with families, whether it's through a phone call or translating letters or permission slips, things such as that. Obviously, our collaboration with the PTO and LHEF, the police department with the fifth grade DARE program, they're in the school a lot. So we have a lot of connections with the police department. For Veterans Day, all the students make Valentines that we bring over to the VA hospital. 9/11, one of our big focuses in grades 2 through 4 is letters to the local heroes. And then we had, second grade did a food drive to the St. Vincent's Food Pantry. We had one of our assemblies was the Seeing Eye, so there was a donation for them. PTO has the coat drive, and the kids absolutely love bringing coats in and things from home to add into the bin. And then we have our concert, spring choral concert and fifth grade evening of the arts. Today we had the first graders visit the school and go on a tour. As they were leaving, they would wave goodbye saying, "See you next year." I said, "Well, September, we'll see you in September." And then right before school starts, we do the open house for all second grade students and new students. And I think that's, oh, and just our volunteers, very similar to the list from Gillette School. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So some of the highlights for Central under raising academic performance. I want to speak a little bit more to this. Dr. Jones brought it up earlier, how much staff development and collaboration with the high school and the other sending districts is important. Working at the middle school, we have primarily in each grade level one math teacher, one social studies, one science, one social studies. So I feel on the team that it's so important to get them outside of their classroom. And when we're talking about academic performance, standards is number one. So what standards are they responsible for teaching? And make sure our teachers are very strong on those and understanding how other teachers also teach those standards in different ways too to pick up. So that's just so important. So we visited the high school with all those different content areas that are listed. We're talking about instructional practices, trends that we see in the standards, trends that the teachers are seeing in their classroom. So they're looking at student-centered experiences, all of those things that come along on that. So not only is the learning, but getting outside of your classroom and seeing other teachers do it. That's why we feel it's so valuable. And additionally, she spoke about the ELA curriculum planning. So we've been reviewing that with the high school and the other sending districts, and we're going to be updating that primarily. So we were pretty much aligned, but there's going to be some tweaks across pretty much all the different districts that we're looking at. Evaluation of novels per grade level, and just reviewing the different curriculum strengths and areas of improvement. Next slide. Okay. Also, consortium events. Not a lot of people know this, but we host a variety of consortium events, and these are competitions against other local schools. We hosted a chess tournament at Central Middle School this year. We participated in a problem-solving competition, a mathematics competition, and our JV team placed first in the math relay, answering 27 out of 30 questions correctly. So kudos to them. They did a great job. Spelling bee, we had first and second place winners in JV, which was wonderful. A general knowledge competition, varsity team placed third. and a world language consortium where they engage in different world language activities. So really good things that our students are, and opportunities that they're able to sign up for. And these take place again during the school day. We bus the students to the local schools wherever the competition's being held. It's also our third year of implementation of the world language the resources that we adopted Wayside 3 years ago. So we're just continuing to expand and improve on that, which we're really excited about. Next slide. We also continued our gifted and talented programming opportunities, which students can sign up for. So our debate team held practice throughout the year. They worked so hard. We had 2 different teams. We had 2 students place first and second, and 1 team had a perfect score, which at the university, someone who oversees it, because you have scores, said they've never seen a perfect score in 30 years. So kudos to that individual. We also hosted working collaboratively with the PTO. So this is kind of in both camps that we're looking at, raising academic awareness and with stakeholders. We work very closely with the PTO in having 3 different residency programs that all focus on language arts. 6th grade is an author's residency and writing workshop, but it was 3 days. 7th grade is a public speaking workshop for 2 days. And in 8th grade, a Shakespeare interactive workshop for 3 days, which we selected because we want to prepare students, because the high school, in listening to their teachers, they get kind of clobbered by Shakespeare and they're a little scared and hesitant. So it makes it really fun and interactive and introduces it to them in a really engaging student, like hands-on way where they get to act in the class. So I got to witness that. Mr. Alexis, I think you stopped by to see those as well too. So really great opportunities. Some other things this year, which was new, we introduced Portrait of a Promoted 8th Grader, which focused on raising the bar and having students reflect on the most important academic skills and attributes needed in being prepared for high school and their future. So there's a little reflection activity for our 8th grade students. We also hosted the AMC 8, which is a national math challenge. It's open to everybody. 25 students chose to compete in that national competition, which we held right at Central School. We hosted our own geography bee, our social studies teachers did. 6th through 8th grade, all 6th through 8th grade students participated, which was really wonderful and really fun event for the students. Our robotics team also placed 2nd and 3rd in 2 different categories in the state finals, which was really wonderful. And we touched on this before, we're looking at updating and revising our cycle courses in 7th and 8th grade for next year, looking at maybe infusing a little bit more language arts and some really engaging projects for them that they'd be interested in. Okay, and engaging school and community stakeholders. Our community service club, which I think we said this is the 3rd year that we've adopted that, and one of our teachers brought it up because they thought we wanted to infuse more community service interactions with our students. Supporting the senior center, they worked very hard on that this year. Cooking and preparing meals for Long Hill's first responders. They collected for both the 12 Baskets Food Pantry and Market Street Mission. They worked with the local recreation department in a Sterling Lake cleanup. They did that with the environmental club as well too, and they also worked with the environmental club. They got some donated flowers and soil and made planters for Mother's Day that they sold, and all the proceeds went to the local Raptor Trust, which was really nice. So we did 2 things: some Mother's Day presents if anybody needed, some extra flowers, and they had a blast putting them together. Also the partnership with Watchung Hills, which we've talked about. The 9th graders and the 9th and a few 10th visited us. This was the first time. Our school counselor worked on this, collaborating with them. They visited and they held a transition event. There's many transition events at Watchung Hills hosts where all the students are invited, but they brought some high school students to us, and they broke up into small groups and covered a variety of different topics. So our students in small groups, meeting with a few of their students, answering questions, covering a variety of different topics. Really, we look to continue that next year. And also the high school students we're working with, your building. This year, we also hosted a Halloween night dance and costume competition fundraiser for our theater arts, which was really nice. The students had a blast at that. We also visited Watchung Hills for the Holiday Music Festival. During the day, all of our 8th graders went. Serves as a great transition program, and they also get a chance to see what the high school can showcase and different opportunities that are available to them. Athletic competition, we talked about that a lot tonight. So we had a lot of champions. The basketball team, girls and boys, were undefeated, and we know baseball, softball, track and field had a couple of record breakers this year as well too, which was really wonderful. Music, we hosted our winter and spring concert. Our students also participated in a competition at Dorney Park and a trip, which was wonderful. They performed at the Myersville Tree Lighting and Holiday Festival. They also participated in the Nick Stevens Music Room dedication ceremony, which was wonderful. I also want to thank, they're also going to participate in the PTO thank you event, which is coming up at Central Middle School this week. And they also, some students participate in an honors sending district band. So they practice throughout the year, and then they held a concert at Watchung Hills this year, which was really nice. Our theater arts production this year was Finding Nemo Jr. So they also held a Meet the Cast event, and they also performed a show specifically for our 5th grade students as a transition event, which was really nice. And then we have multiple transition events for the 5th graders who will be coming over. The theater arts play they saw. They visited today Central Middle School, so they got a little brief tour and information session. And then we will also hold a full orientation in August for all of the incoming 6th graders. We also work very closely with our student council, which was wonderful this year. They wanted to hold a pep rally, so I worked with them and the other staff members. So we held a pep rally and acknowledged athletic and academic teams at Central Middle School. We also hosted a staff and student trivia contest and a staff first student volleyball game, which they beat us again. We invited a Holocaust survivor as a guest speaker in 7th grade, aligned with the curriculum, which was very meaningful for the students. We work very closely with the police department, which everybody else touched on before. They also host specific drug awareness and good decision-making assemblies for our 7th and 8th grade students. And we also had students participate in the fire prevention art contest, I think, at all schools, and those students were recognized for their artistic pieces and their messages. Our 8th graders also participate in, we have the opportunity to honor them at the county level in 2 different awards programs. So there's the Morris County Unsung Hero Award and the Morris County Leadership Award. So administration attends that night, the recognized student who all of our staff vote on, and their families attend and they're honored at those ceremonies on 2 different evenings. And other collaboration with our PTO, they host a holiday party for everyone in our school, the staff and students, which is wonderful. We host Medieval Day in 6th grade, Victorian Day in 7th grade, and they also support our awards program. So they honor students in every academic area, including arts and cycles and different specials, for excellence and outstanding effort that will be at our graduation ceremony for the 8th graders. And those are the highlights. Sorry, I try to keep it to a minimum, but there's a lot that happens at our school. And are you next?
Thanks. Yes.
Sorry.
Sure, no problem. Okay, moving on to our iReady diagnostics for the year. This is just, again, a highlight of the content areas and the domains that students are tested on. And it's a 3-level placement. It could be 5 levels as well. I just summarized it to 3. On or above grade level is green. Yellow is 1 grade level below. And then red is 2 or more grade levels below. So what I did is I have a summary for each school after this, but up here is the very first one in the fall that we took, and then the one that we took at the end of spring, which was actually just the last 2 weeks. I'll leave it up here just for a second, but I'm going to talk about it again, like I said. But you can see the one that is faded is the one that was from the fall. The one that is more colorful, the triangle, is the one that was just recent. So this is Gillette School Reading. And then we have Gillette School Math. And again, you can see the differences. Okay, some highlights.
I'm sorry, could we go back to the Gillette School Math?
Sure.
Can't see the numbers from here, but it looks like more than half this sample is failing.
No, that's,
So one or
Is
two
the
grades
next
below?
slide going to summarize it?
Yes.
Dr. Jones, just give her 1 second, Tom.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
because this
Okay.
is a little hard. Yeah.
okay. So some highlights for the Gillette summary in both reading and math. We had 52% growth from the fall through the spring with students on or above grade level in reading, and 38% growth from the fall through the spring with students on or above grade level in math, which is that green color. Our plan for next year, just focusing on Gillette, we are going to introduce after-school classes, which we have not done for grades K and 1 for ELA and math. We are going to increase professional development and small group instruction for teachers in grades K and 1. We are planning on revising the Foundations curriculum, specifically with exposure to short vowels and long vowels simultaneously, as opposed to teaching them separately now, because we're finding that on some of the assessments, like iReady and Dibbles and Fontes and Pinnell, the reading assessment, it's better to teach them in unison as opposed to short vowels and then months later long vowels. So we're doing a little bit of revisions on that. We will, for the whole district, some of this will be repeated with the other schools because there are some district initiatives, but we will begin our multi-tiered system of support training with the district, specifically in K1, just for purposes of this slide for Gillette. And we're going to be focusing, I'll let Mrs. Cologne talk more about that, but small group instruction and how this training embedded with the teachers will help us in some areas that you will see are still, we still need some work on. We will continue with Conquer Math, professional development.
Excuse me, you still don't answer my question, Dr. Jones.
Can you just, Tom, let her finish this? When you're done with this
Are we
slide,
changing
Dr.
topics?
Jones, no, because she's staying on this slide, though. When you're done with the slide, just he can ask a question, okay?
Sure,
Thank you.
sure. For Conquer Math, we are continuing with professional development for newly hired teachers and teachers that need a refresher that are moving grade levels, like I said before. And then we are utilizing some data a little differently for our basic skills groups for next year. So instead of starting in October, we will be starting much sooner within the first month of school. So let me go back to your question, Mr. Grosskopf. What was you're asking, was it math?
Well, the pyramid you have on the left, the green, what percentage is that?
The green on the left is 58% from 20% from the beginning of the year.
I appreciate the growth of 50-something percent, as you said, and I understand numbers. So you're still saying that we're more than 40-some-odd% are 1 or 2 grades behind?
Correct.
I'm glad to see that the work we have planned for next year hopefully will change that number, but that's not good. I don't think any parent would think that was good.
Okay, Millington School reading. Again, it's the same format as Gillette. On the left is current, and the one that is faded is from the fall. And I'm going to, again, summarize for each school. This is math. Okay, some highlights from specifically Millington. 78% of the students on or above grade level, as opposed to 52% in the beginning of the year for reading. We had an increase in on or above grade level, which is the green, in vocabulary and comprehension, which I was happy to see that because those were the 2 targeted areas that we focused on for the after-school classes this year. 73% of the students were on or above grade level, as opposed to 33% in the beginning of the year with math, and 31% of an increase in 1 grade level below from the fall, which I think is a pretty large percentage for below grade level. And for math, we did see an increase in those domains of geometry and numbers and operations, which is what we focused on in the after-school classes for math. So some specifics for our plan for Millington next year. And again, like I said, some are going to be similar. Increasing the professional development and small group instruction. Beginning the multi-tiered system of support training that I mentioned for Gillette is more of a district goal. Conquer Math, continuing professional development. beginning after-school classes in the fall, targeting the areas from New Jersey Student Learning Assessments when we receive that data, comparing it with the iReady assessments as well, and then again, beginning basic skills instruction within the first month of school. Okay, Central School Reading. Central School Math. And then some highlights and plans. We did make some slight progress in each color for reading since the fall up until now. We did make improvement in vocabulary and comprehension, which is what we focused on for Central as well with the after-school classes. Progress was made in each color for math since the beginning of the year, and again in those specific domains of number and operations and geometry for math for the after-school classes. What our plan is for next year is beginning the multi-tiered system of support training, Conquer Math. We're going to begin after-school classes in the fall, targeting New Jersey Student Learning Assessment data, iReady, and we've been hearing a little bit from the Student Achievement Committee that there should be a little bit more collaboration between grade 5 and 6. So we thought this would be a time to strengthen that a little bit more than we have. So we are going to have grade 5 and 6 ELA teachers collaborate monthly with our reading specialist, Mrs. Minerva, and myself, just to go over some specific areas targeted from New Jersey Student Learning Assessments and targeted from the iReady assessments, and starting in the very beginning of the year as well. Are there any questions about the assessments?
Go ahead, Justin.
Dr. Joe, does iReady provide benchmarking? Because what I want to kind of protect against is an overreaction, because I think it's hard for us to look at that data and not understand where we stand against other districts. So does iReady give benchmarking, and will that help contextualize the numbers a little bit more?
I'm not sure, but I can look into that and definitely let the Student Achievement Committee know.
Thank you.
Sure. Also, what we learned a little bit from iReady this year is how we administered it. So we saw more growth in K through 2 with specific areas. And those are the assessments that they take, besides the Dibbles and besides Fontes and Pinnell. When you get up to the higher grades, that's something that we're working on for next year with how we're spacing out iReady with the New Jersey Student Learning Assessments. Is it too close at the end of the year? Are students, quote unquote, tired of testing? Are they taking it seriously? So there's a lot that we learned this year, and I think there's a lot more to learn going forward. And I think it's a work in progress. So that's definitely something that we talked about and that we continue to talk about for going forward. I did put together that I'll be sending out to the teachers in August with feedback from the administrative team, a manual for iReady on not really so much how to prepare your students, but reminding them, slow down. Did I have a lot of emails that certain students rushed? Not many, but when you take the diagnostic, if you rush through it, or let's just say purposes of rushing through it, it doesn't change in the data here presented to everybody. But when we reassign a diagnostic so that the teachers are able to see the true measure, that readjusts their MyPath. So it's still beneficial for the student and the teacher, but not really for presentation purposes. We are reminding parents in the manual not to complete the diagnostic at home, which we found were happening more in the younger grade levels. So it's really not about impressing, it's about individual growth for the students, and then how to take that growth and how the teachers can take that growth and then make instruction stronger in the classroom. So there's definitely ways for us to learn going forward that I know we are committed to doing for the next school year.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
And again, I want to be very respectful of everyone. I'm on the board and I'm a parent, and but just a suggestion, I really don't think parents in the community are sold on this. I don't think, I hear parents are like, oh, they're just doing stuff on iReady. And I'm always like, no, but iReady is great. And it's a really useful tool. I don't think the district has done a good job of selling it to parents. And I think we will get more information out of it. We'll get more value from it if the parents are really sold on it, because there's so much that we can get from it. But I know so many parents, and I'm trying to sell them on things, and they're like, it's just putting them in front of a screen. And so, I request and I implore you to really find ways to engage parents, because it is a valuable tool, and I see the value in it. I just don't think if the community isn't behind it, it's just not going to be as useful as it really is. So that's my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. That's a good point.
I wanted to ask Mr. Alexis, am I right to say there's benchmarking, because don't we get to see us as compared to the national average?
Yeah, but we have to wait for that data because they are collecting it now since the end of the year assessments were given. So it is something we can look at over the summer when it becomes available. It's never going to be as specific as we'd like, where we can look at certain districts in our area that are using it, but it would be more of either a state level review or a national review. But we can absolutely take, when that data becomes available, we can compare it.
Okay. And then my other question is, Dr. Jones, are you gonna use iReady for the Summer Institute, or is there any capability to use it for that?
We can. We're still discussing that. It's probably going to be a mix of iReady and more individual instruction teaching. Whereas the after-school classes were iReady and then small group, this will be a bit more of a mix.
And then you guys just did the third assessment, right?
Yes.
So did parents get any notice about that? I may have, so I'm asking, might have been an email, or are people, I guess, are we seeing if people are checking it, or?
I don't know who's checking it, but communication went out, and then before it's uploaded in Genesis, we still have some students, not many, but some students across each grade level, each subject, that have not finished yet. So I'm closing it out the end of tomorrow. And then Jack and I will work on, I'm going to send a letter out summarizing, and then it'll be posted in the portal again.
Got it,
Yeah.
okay.
So just one thing, Dr. Jones, I just want to say thank you, that I know that when we look at diagnostic and growth data, it's really hard to make determinations about like where we are performance, right? It's not NJSLA. But I'm really happy to see that you and Mr. Alexis have been working so hard to increase the data literacy of our staff. I think that that's something that in a lot of places is a big lift for teachers, and to do it meaningfully. I'm really happy to hear that we're moving forward with the MTSS and the tiers of support. I think that's going to further their understanding of iReady and of the data and how to use it to drive instruction. And I'm excited to see the trajectory of what comes out of this. I think that the year that we're in with iReady is a really difficult place to be, where we're learning the system, and I've seen it happen before. But I just want to say that I think that the long-term plan moving forward is going to do really great things for our kids. So
Yeah,
Great, thank you.
I agree. Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course. Okay, raising academic performance for interventions for students. So we had teachers reviewing the data for iReady, DIBELS, Fontes and Pinnell levels. There's a lot of information, Hegarty phonics for the younger students. So the teachers continue to review the data, and then we're making some planning for next year. As I said, we are we're moving up the times, or a whole month of basic skills instruction, because we're taking a look at data now as opposed to taking some time to do it in the beginning of the year. So that is happening. Teachers in grades K through 3 are comparing the iReady and the DIBELS assessments to look for commonalities, and we are going to be working on some curriculum mapping, as I stated before, with foundations, with some of the vowels, and I know we did do that in 2nd grade as well. We started after-school classes sooner this year based on the fall diagnostic. And then I will have the information from the Summer Institute Interest Survey to share with the Student Achievement Committee for next week. Okay. Okay, align instructional spaces to support innovative teaching and learning. So for this school year, we renovated the central STEAM room. It looks beautiful. We've had some meetings in there. It's a great space. We renovated room 10 at Gillette, which is Mrs. Clark's room. It's a brand new room with everything, floor, everything. It's just a gorgeous room. We replaced the flooring, which was unexpected but very appreciated, of the media center for Gillette. And we have a plan for the layout and some furniture in Millington Media Center. If there is money left over, possibly going over to the Gillette Media Center, but we're not sure if that will happen yet. Right now, we're just loving the floor. So, and we do have plans for renovation for the technology room at Central. For the next school year, the Millington Media Center layout and furniture is on schedule for this summer. Technology room is to be transformed into a new instructional space at Central. We have a STEAM teacher on the agenda this evening, I believe, and equipment being purchased this summer for that program that we're extremely excited about. And our one-to-one technology plan has been updated for all 3 schools. Okay, I will turn it over to Mrs. Colon.
Hello. The district administration has been working with the board office to identify some additional cost-saving opportunities. So starting last school year, we had 1 tuition-paying student from Greenbrook. He returned for this school year, and in December, we took on a 2nd student into our preschool program from Somerset Hills, who is planning to stay with us for the summer and into next school year. Our student from Greenbrook is unfortunately returning to Greenbrook in September. He will be with us through ESY. And starting on June 26th, which is the first day of ESY, we have a 2nd student from Somerset Hills entering our preschool disabled program, which we're really excited about. We've worked extensively this year on some new shared services. The big one is combining our ESY programs with Watchung Borough School District. Tomorrow night is our kickoff parent meeting. The 2 districts will both be holding a joint ESY program at Millington School this summer. Tomorrow night, like I said, is our parent orientation. And on June 25th, the day before we start, we were actually having a staff orientation where at 12 o'clock we are inviting all of the students in to come meet their teachers, the paras, and also visit the classrooms. We do have some magic to make happen between now and the first day of ESY because we do have to transform 2nd grade classrooms into preschool settings. So we're working on that. I just had another meeting this evening with the Watchung Borough Director of Special Services. So we're really excited. We're hoping by late June, early July, we should have some ideas of financially the benefits of it. We're not quite there yet because we are waiting on some confirmations from students that have not confirmed that they're attending and joining us this summer. We've also worked with the Central Middle School and the Chinese language program at Hudson Way Immersion School on some shared opportunities, both during the school day and after school, I believe for next year. We have been working on this year promoting an inclusive school community. We have definitely worked on assuring that as many students as possible are academically, socially, and emotionally included. In the special ed department, we are really trying to move as many students into inclusion to the greatest extent possible. We realize that all day, every day is not necessarily the right setting for everybody, but we are finding opportunities to the best of our ability to really make that happen. Also, we did celebrate Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month in April. There's still some conversation as to what we're calling it, but we did celebrate that after spring break in April. This year, our ELL teachers had done some professional development for our staff on English language development and our ML population, which we were really excited about. Also with our multilingual learners, there have been very many monthly celebrations highlighting the different cultures that are in the district, both in the classroom and with some outside activities within the school. I'm going to hand over for the social emotional learning portion of this to Melissa Backer.
Thank you. So we have a very robust social emotional learning program throughout the entire district. We have our Choose Love program that we've been using for quite a few years, which entails activities and different lessons and activities throughout the different buildings. We have our character education lessons, our Tiger Team assemblies at Gillette and Millington. We have our school climate team meetings at all 3 buildings, and that has a parent representative for each team. So it's good to have their input. We also have our October initiatives every October, where there are lessons and activities focusing on respecting ourselves, our peers, and our community. And that includes our Week of Respect, School Violence Awareness Week, which we have renamed Peace in Our Schools Week, and Red Ribbon Week, where we promote the healthy choices our students are making. And then to further promote an inclusive school community at the different schools, at Central, we had an assembly called My Life Online, and that focused on how we treat each other in person and online, making good decisions and being the best versions of ourselves in person and behind the screen, and of course, protecting our anonymity. And as Mr. V mentioned earlier, we invited a Holocaust survivor to come speak to our 7th grade students. And at Millington School, we had our 5th grade digital citizenship assembly, where we promote kindness, respect, and inclusivity, again, on and offline. And we had our Seeing Dog assemblies, where students were learning about the life of the visually impaired community, and of course got to meet the dogs that they love and that we have in our school currently. And at Gillette School, we had our dance residency, which honored traditional dances from various cultures. And at our family reading night, we had stories that were read in various languages to reflect the different languages spoken in our students' homes, further promoting our sense of cultural responsiveness.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions?
Does anybody have other questions? Right.
What does the school climate committee discuss? That's something new to me. Is it?
Do you want to talk about that? Ms. Backer runs those, so here you
So the school climate committee, school climate team, they're part of the HIB law. So every school in New Jersey has to have a team, and they meet 2 times a year, minimally, to discuss different trends and what's going on in the school climate. So they review HIB, like patterns of behavior if necessary. We are fortunate to have very minimal instance of that, but that is what the climate committees are for. Okay.
The composition of that committee.
So there's a parent representative, myself as the HIB coordinator. We have the principals of the school, a teacher representative, and our school counselor. So it's a blend of everyone from the school.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thanks.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Moving to the business administrator's report.
I have nothing else to report. Thank you.
All right. All right, comments from the public on any agenda items? Okay, let's move to resolutions. Karen, will you move in resolutions number 1 through 3?
Do we want to read maybe one of them or 2 of them in?
Well, if you're gonna read,
Wait,
you gotta read all of them then.
The retirees? And what do you think? Should we read it in?
You can go ahead and read it. No. Go ahead, Karen. Yep.
Whereas the Long Hill Township Board of Education is proud of the outstanding educators who serve the children of our community and the manner in which they support our core beliefs. That education is a growth process by which people learn to think and act more effectively. That we must provide a safe, pleasant environment for learning. That respect for the policies of a democratic government is desirable. That students should acquire an understanding of and a respect for the traditions, customs, and heritage of the country. That students should be encouraged to use leisure time wisely. That students should be taught that education, in a broadened sense, can become a lifelong pursuit for everyone. Whereas the board wishes to acknowledge the service and dedication of educators who have demonstrated continued exceptional delivery of instruction to our students. And whereas the following individuals have had a lasting impact on the students and community of Long Hill. For 5 years service, Karen Bissett, Elise, see, I shouldn't have done this because I'm going to kill the names.
Just try your best.
Brenda Fino, Valerie Carias, thank you. Dana Kersey, Marcella Garcia Pradas, Ruth Hines Holliott, Brittany Lee, Sharon Lovett, Denise Midthassel, Dana Paltos, Kayla Ramirez, Marsha Riley, Gina Russo, Adele Valentine. Excuse me. For 10 years service, Gretchen Iyer, Jennifer Clark, Carissa Felix, Elise Orzapowski.
Yeah.
Okay. 15 years service, Linda Seppi. 20 years service, Patrick Golub, Elizabeth Nusser, Jennifer Tremarco. 25 years service, Wendy Cohen. And 30 years service, Danielle Minerva.
Okay, Crystal, why don't you read the next one, please?
Whereas Patricia Paw was employed from September 1st, 2015 through September 29th, 2023 as a school library media specialist at Central Middle School. And whereas Patricia Paw exemplified expertise, commitment, and professionalism in her duties. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the superintendent and the Long Hill Township Board of Education recognize Patricia Paw's retirement effective September 30th, 2023, and extend to her congratulations and best wishes for a happy, healthy, and enjoyable retirement.
Danielle, can you do the next one?
Sure. Whereas Mary Jean Snow has been employed from September 1st, 1995 through June 30th, 2024 as a kindergarten and second grade teacher, and whereas Mary Jean Snow exemplified expertise, commitment, and professionalism in her duties, and now therefore be it resolved that the superintendent and the Long Hill Township Board of Education recognize Mary Jean Snow's retirement effective July 1st, 2024, and extend to her congratulations and best wishes for a happy and healthy, enjoyable retirement.
Thank you. Okay, so now, Karen, do you want to move?
Minutes, so moved.
Resolutions. You're moving in the resolutions. We just read them.
Yeah.
So moved. Okay, thank you.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Ms. Case?
Yes. Thank you. Crystal, will you move in the minutes number 4?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
You just said that.
Me.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. Danielle, will you move in financials numbers 5 through 22?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. Special services, Ann, will you move in numbers 23 through 33?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. Tom, will you move in personnel numbers 34 through 51?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
I have questions.
Go ahead, Tom.
On 34 and 35, we're talking about the business administrator, board secretary. It says going from full-time to .75 full-time employee, where currently it's a shared services arrangement. And so it's really going from a .5 to .75. And also it talks about, in 35, about continuing for the next year. This comes out as it's already resolved. I think that this is a discussion that should be held by the board. So I move to table this or to have a discussion. First thing we need to do is we need to find out if This position, as stated, is a fit for the superintendent. I'm assuming that it is, because otherwise it wouldn't have gone forward. Whether the workload requires 3/4 of a person, if it needs a whole person or a half person. Currently, this year,
Okay, wait, Tom, you're
Yes?
moving into debate when you made a motion.
I'm making my point.
That's not, we're not moving into debate until somebody seconds the motion, and then we move into
Fair
that.
enough.
So you have to wait a
Fair
second.
enough, thank you.
So can we do part one? Part one, was part one number 34, does it have to say from full-time to .7? Does that need to be
Yeah.
adjusted, or can you explain, Mr.
Th-
Lutz?
This is for a specific position control roster that we have to keep in place, and, it's recorded and the data is reported to the state. So that's all that resolution is designed to address. It's not addressing the previous shared services, because in the last year, this current year, we had a full-time position in our position control roster, but we had a shared services, so we hadn't hired anyone to fill that position. Now that we're hiring someone to fill this position, we have to tailor it to what the expectation will be for next year, what the FTE, the employee ratio will be for next year.
Okay, so, all right.
Can I clarify that just? So this isn't actually hiring a person. This is just clarifying the role.
Well, number
It's-
34.
It's just clarifying the position control roster, number 34, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 35, so Tom made a motion to table this.
And/or to discuss.
You can only make one or
I
the
then
other.
I moved to table it.
Okay. So he's
I'm willing
motioning
to
to
alter
table. I'm going to ask for Mr. Alexis to maybe weigh in on what that means for the timeline.
Yeah. So we have to have someone in place as a business administrator on July 1st. And so we worked with the county superintendent to approve a contract after Robert and I worked out some details to make it fit for our district for next year. And so that's what we've done. And the county superintendent was terrific in expediting the process, because normally it takes a few weeks. She did it for us after we submitted it late last week, and she has it approved. And so that's why I recommended that we pass this, so that we have it all in place for July 1st.
Does anybody, so Tom made a motion to table it. Does anybody want to second Tom's motion?
I will remove my motion.
The motion is withdrawn. Okay. So now any other questions on personnel? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Mrs. Nyquist?
Yes.
And Mrs. Case?
Yes. Justin, will you move in curriculum number 52?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Ms. Nyquist?
Yes.
Mrs. Case?
Yes. Okay. Other. Katie, will you move in items numbers 53 to 57?
So moved.
Second.
That was Ann.
Ann?
Second was me.
Okay. Any questions on other? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Grosskopf?
Yes.
Dr. Marr?
Yes.
Mrs. McLennan?
Yes.
Mrs. Nyquist?
Yes.
And Mrs. Case?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Any items for discussion, unfinished business or new business?
I just have a question regarding our buildings and grounds position.
You got to add a question to it, Karen.
Okay, are we missing are we missing a resolution on here? We're not. Okay, sorry, I apologize.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, any comments from the public, the tired public? Okay. And will you move us into executive session, please?
Yes. The board will enter into a private executive session to discuss a harassment, intimidation, and bullying report, matters of attorney-client privilege, and confidential legal and personnel matters, including the evaluation of the superintendent.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Any abstain? Okay, thank you.